25/8 is in the business of time. We help leaders of small and medium-sized businesses work smarter, not harder, so they feel like they have an extra hour in the day and day in the week. Go from don't know what I don't know to I can't miss this show, as we talk proven strategies, practical tips and insider insights from a diverse range of industry leaders. Make time to grow your capabilities and confidence with 25/8. Hi, and welcome to the Make Time podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about where we got our name from. People ask us all the time, what does it mean? Where does their name come from? I think having the story gives you some context as to what we do, but also I can weave in some information about brand and brand names and why that's important for smaller businesses. Essentially, we had a group of businesses pre-2020, which all had slightly different purposes. The original company was called Marketing Entourage. That was a marketing agency, brand and website, come marketing consultancy. We used to do a lot of work with startups in those early days, helping them really understand their go-to-market strategy and their brand strategy, a mix between an agency and a consultancy. And we also did quite a bit of work with local government in innovation strategies and activations. And we used to run a number of different design hacks too. So we had a company called Me3, which was really focused on customer experience, place-based activations, and then 25/8, a business that was focused on the education. In 2018, we got funding from LaunchFit to roll out an educational program to startups to help them build a marketing strategy. And it's something that I'd toyed with on and off over the years that we'd founded, because we'd often get approached by people that we were in the co-working spaces with to help them, advise them with their marketing, with their business strategy, essentially. And one of the challenges with this is often the startups that we were in the co-working spaces with didn't have a lot of money at all. So we would give advice freely here and there and helping people out. One of the things that I really wanted to do was actually how I could create something that was low cost, that would essentially help some of the startups that we were in these spaces with get to the next level so that they could start generating some revenue. Essentially, they could start getting some customers. And I always wondered why I did this and my many different academic focus areas, but I completed a Masters of Teaching at Melbourne Uni, and I taught business management at VCE, would you believe, for a couple of years, and realised teaching wasn't for me after 20 years as a exec, sales and marketing exec, which is when the business started. But here I was with educational background in how to teach and depth of understanding of the people that we're trying to serve, plus my understanding of sales and marketing, given my 20-year career. And here was an opportunity to create education that I thought would really be able to get some outcomes for the people that we work with at a lower cost, because engaging us on a strategy was upwards of 10, 15,000 for a complete strategy. And that was way out of access for many of the startups that we were working with. So I started to embed or incorporate some of the simple education concepts and break things down into frameworks that would enable the startups to come to some of the conclusions. Pretty much what we were doing in some of the strategic workshops and consultations, I was teaching them how to do that for themselves. And then in 2018, we applied for the Launch Vic funding, education funding, and were granted it to deliver a startup marketing program to 100 startups. And this was an opportunity for us to do this at scale. And so this is the first wide scale educational delivery that we did. And we did it still under Marketing Entourage, and we're able to support 100 startups across the state of Victoria in a hybrid learning format, essentially, which meant that they did some of the exercises themselves in a self-paced online digital environment. And then we brought them together for workshops, did a bit of a roadshow across Victoria, and we also streamed that digitally for people to join. And the impact of that program was incredible. It surprised us at the time too, in terms of the outcomes. Revisiting the end of program survey in prep for this podcast today was quite interesting, because you get to see what the outcomes were for many of those businesses. We had high completion rates, perhaps not as high as our 80% that we get on average now, but we still had quite a high completion rate for a program that was delivered digitally. Our attendance rate at the workshops was high. There was a core group of about 40 or 50, pretty much half of the 100 that attended, that roadshowed with us, that came to all of the different workshops in Ballarat and Bendigo and Geelong, and sort of travelled with us. So we'd formed this little community as well, which was really quite special to see. Anyway, I've sort of digressed, but essentially we delivered this program, and the outcome for them was a really clear marketing strategy that they could follow. They developed themselves, and they learned the skills on how to develop it. And many of the things that were stated as valuable were this clarity, that real clear idea, clear direction in which they could follow, and how much time that saved for them. And this wasn't the first time that we had really tried to uncover what the blip was that was a challenge for small businesses, and time being one of them. As a small business ourselves, we knew this all too well. But as a marketing agency, and people coming to you to get it done for them because they didn't have time to do it is an indicator. But then having people that didn't have budget or resources to pay for someone to do it for them, needing to do it themselves, meant that they had to find the time to do some of this. And so really everything that we needed to do, it needed to enable them to do that quickly, so that they learned how to do it quickly. They couldn't spend a year or two trying to develop the skills to build a strategy. It had to be quick, and it had to be almost immediately applicable, so that they could implement it in their startup. And so this idea of time, and being able to help them feel like they've got more time or time to spend on it, or the progress is accelerated, that they feel like they've got more time, became more and more apparent. And anyone that's been through our teachings knows we talk about what problem that we're solving when we talk about our messaging. And so really to uncover the problem for many of these startups that we were serving at the time, even though the challenges were customer acquisition, or getting leads, or building awareness, or getting international sales, most of it was quite specific to customers and customer acquisition, and not having a budget to do these things. But actually, when you got to the heart of the problem, when you really dug down into what the challenge was time to dedicate to the one thing that's going to move the needle. The other thing was clarity about what to do, which would save them time. I often said we sell clarity. We essentially were giving you a really clear idea of what to do next, the strategy. But in actual fact, you're buying time, because knowing what to do means that you don't wander around in the dark. You stop wasting time. And wasting time is what a lot of us do in small business, because there's so much we can do and so much we have to do. So understanding what we need to do really enables us to buy that time. And then when I look at the results from some of the businesses that are going through current programs, and here we see that they're saying that they're finally finding time to work on the business. And the the outcome for them is around time, that we really sort of hit the nail on the head. We've still given them the structure, the clarity, the growth plan, but they feel this sense of time. They still know that there's lots that they need to do, but they know that they've got the time to work on it now. And so 25/8 essentially is around having an extra hour in the day and day in the week, 25/8. And we want people to feel like they've got that extra hour. They've got that time to work on the business. But also, the other thing that really has become more and more apparent to me this year is that balance between being busy and having breathing space to look after ourselves, to really nurture ourselves as leaders, to make sure that we don't burn out or burn anyone out within the business. And so that aspect of time is taking time, making time for yourself, making time to work on the business. Finding that balance is really important to the success of your business. So being really clear about how you do that is equally important. And the more we embed our personal development side aspect of helping a small to medium-sized business leader get clear to grow, but grow on their own terms, grow in a way that's not going to harm anyone or anything, gives you that space to think, gives you that space to be creative, to come up with these ideas, to be the business leader that you are meant to be, not who you think you should be. Really, it's about you and your business and making that your own. And so 25/8 has took a number of different meanings around that time. And it could be that you feel like you've had extra time because you've made fast progress. It might be that you feel like you've got time to finally work on your business rather than just being in it. But also it might feel like you've got time for yourself, that you've got a bit of breathing space, that you're not all consumed by your business as well. And that all of these things are equally important to the success of your business. In 2020, I had to make the decision about what to do to get through the COVID period. We weren't sure what was going to happen. Many people weren't either. What could I do to ensure I could keep all of the staff employed, keep a business viable through this? I brought all the staff together. And what could we be the best at? What is it that we can help people with the most right now? What can we do really well? And it came back to the education. It came back to being able to support people to build their own skills, to be able to navigate through challenging times, but also to teach them how to use digital, to teach them how to build a business on their terms, how to do that, not following a blueprint or a checklist. Here's how we did it, because they need the skills to be able to know that for themselves. And that's what we could do. And that's when we adopted the name 25/8. We really stopped working in the marketing support space. So we stopped doing any kind of support and really just focused on education. And through the years since 2020, we have rolled out to thousands of Australian business owners through government contracts to direct to business, and really help them to gain clarity in a particular area, whether they're looking to grow, expand internationally, grow overseas, build a strategy around marketing or digital. And so that's been our focus, is helping people to build that clarity and direction. And in the last year, I've embedded more and more around the coaching in the personal, professional development for the individual to really increase their confidence, but also to understand the balance between what the business needs and what the individual needs, and how to do both. So 25/8 into the future is really about ensuring that there is that balance, that you get time to work on the business, but you get time for yourself as well. So most of the people that we serve that find the most value in what we do are those that may have been stuck or feel stuck. They've reached a particular point and are not quite sure what to do to get to the next level. And so we help them do that. It might be that they feel a bit burnt out. They've got to a point where their business has consumed them probably, or they're just about to be consumed and they want to ensure that they can move forward. Or those that are going through a really important stage and they want really structured support and guidance to ensure that they do it successfully. We don't fall back, because everyone knows you can go all in on growth, but if it doesn't work, it sometimes means that we're back to the start. So generally, those that need that guidance and support, that clarity, the time to make sure they do these things, to give themselves space to do them properly, are who we serve. And that's how 25/8 got their name, and what 25/8 embodies as a business. The other thing I think for me that's really important about our business is having that story, having that purpose. When we consider our brand story or purpose story, and if you reflect on your business currently, having an understanding of why it's there and what it serves, and a link to the name really helps. Having a name that doesn't mean anything can be challenging sometimes. Having that link to what purpose your business is here to serve, and then being able to make that link and tell that story helps your audience understand what you're here to do and who you're here to help. Having the purpose or brand story linked to the name of your business really helps your audience to connect. And the smaller we are, the more presence, the more meaning we have to have around that. So brand names, naming, what's in a name, that is the lesson for today, but also the backstory of 25/8. And hopefully you can join us again in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Make Time, a business podcast by 25/8. If you like the show, please take a moment to write a review and feedback on what you'd like to hear next. If you never want to miss an episode, hit subscribe or follow on your favourite listening channel. If you want to get even smarter, join our newsletter, community, or take one of our programs. Links down below. See you next time.